3, 2, 1.
Got a blast!
Welcome back to The Lost Save, the show where we crack open old games and see whether they're masterpieces or whether our childhood nostalgia quietly fixed all the flaws. Today's episode is a deep dive into Nicktoons Unite, one of the most ambitious Nickelodeon crossover projects of its era. Because in 2005, somebody at Nickelodeon looked at 4 hit cartoon characters and apparently said, what if we threw all of them into one universe and let chaos happen? And somehow it worked.
This is Bikini Bottom? I can't believe we're under the sea. Everyone keep chewing your neutronic air gum. It'll let you breathe in this environment.
I can't wait to introduce you to all my friends. There's Patrick and Squidward and Mr.
SpongeBob, where is everybody?
Let's rewind to the early 2000s. Nickelodeon was a pretty wild period. Different generations of Nick cartoons were overlapping. You had SpongeBob becoming a giant phenomenon. Danny Phantom was a newer action series with ghosts and darker stories. Jimmy Neutron mixed science fiction and comedy. And The Fairly OddParents had already become one of the network's biggest shows. Each show felt completely different. SpongeBob lived under the sea, Danny fought ghosts, Jimmy built inventions and they usually exploded, Timmy had magical Fairly Godparents. There was absolutely no reason these universes should fit together, which made it even cooler when they did.
Rated E for everyone. From the deepest, darkest places of the universe, 4 evil villains are plotting to take over. The only thing standing in their way are 4 courageous heroes. Danny Phantom, Jimmy Neutron, Timmy Turner, and SpongeBob SquarePants face the diabolical forces of the Syndicate. Play your favorite Nicktoon characters in strange new worlds. The battle is on. Nicktoons Unite, the video game.
The game begins in the Bikini Bottom. Everything seems normal at first. SpongeBob is doing SpongeBob things. Then giant robots suddenly appear and they start attacking. Now imagine being a kid in 2005, seeing a giant mechanical invader marching through the Bikini Bottom. You immediately know, okay, this isn't a normal SpongeBob episode. Soon Jimmy Neutron contacts SpongeBob through Goddard, his robotic dog. Jimmy has discovered weird dimensional activity happening across multiple realities. Something big is connecting these worlds, and eventually the heroes discover the truth. The villains have formed an alliance, and not just random villains. We're talking about one of the biggest enemies from each series.
We need to find Professor Calamitous before he starts his doomsday machine.
You're too late, Jimmy Neutron. All of your heroics have been for nothing. And now, the final stroke of my master plan. All the worlds in the, universe? Yes, universe will bow down to the Syndicate's power or be, destroyed? Yes, destroyed. Now that the Doomsday Machine is ready, your worlds have no choice but to accept our demands. You can't stop us.
Denzel Crocker, Professor Calamitous, Blad Plasmius, and Plankton. Let's talk about these guys for a second because this team is hilarious. Plankton wants power and domination like always. Crocker is obsessed with fairy godparents. Blad wants control and influence. Professor Calamitous is basically a genius disaster machine. The funny thing is that none of them are exactly stable. They're all the type of people who would betray each other instantly. So naturally they decide to build a giant machine together. Terrible idea, by the way. The machine they created is a massive doomsday device powered by energy gathered from different worlds. So the heroes have to travel through universes and shut their operation before reality gets wrecked. And this is where gameplay starts opening up. Unlike a lot of licensed games at the time, you weren't stuck in one character. You switched among 4 heroes. Each had strengths and weaknesses. Let's break them down. First, SpongeBob. SpongeBob is kind of a balanced character. His attacks involve bubbles. He can throw bubble bombs. He has moves that let him float or solve traversal puzzles. And despite being SpongeBob, he actually hits surprisingly hard. Next is Danny Phantom. Danny immediately became the favorite for a lot of players because he's a superhero. He could use his ghost powers, he could glide, he had energy attacks, and eventually he unlocked stronger abilities like Ghostly Whale. Danny usually felt faster and cooler than everybody else, which is probably why every group of friends argued over who got to play him. Then there's Jimmy Neutron. Jimmy wasn't about brute force, he was about technology. His gadgets solved puzzles, his weapons felt more scientific, and Jimmy also served as the team's problem solver. Whenever something complicated happened, everybody basically looked at Jimmy and went, "Fix it." Then we have Timmy Turner. Timmy brought magic into the group. Through magical tools and power-based abilities, he could freeze enemies and interact with objects others couldn't. And that's what made Timmy funny, is that he wasn't really a superhero. Danny hunted ghosts, Jimmy was a genius. SpongeBob survives absurd situations. Timmy was most likely just a kid accidentally creating problems. Now let's talk level design. The game moves through different worlds from each cartoon universe. You explore locations inspired by episodes from the shows. Bikini Bottom appears. Dimsdale, the Ghost Zone appears, Jimmy's Lab, Blat's Castle, and the Fairy World. And each area tries to keep the feeling of its own show. The Ghost Zone feels darker and stranger. Bikini Bottom feels colorful and goofy. Jimmy's areas feel full of gadgets and machines. Then there are boss fights. Boss encounters usually center around villains or giant machines. Some require puzzle solving, others focus on combat. And because each character had different abilities, sometimes players had to switch around during fights. Not every boss was difficult, but as kids, some of them felt impossible. And then we reach one of the strangest missions. The heroes discovered that Goddard had been infected by a hidden device. So what they do? They shrink themselves, then they enter Goddard's body. I need everybody to appreciate how ridiculous this sounds. You have SpongeBob, Danny Phantom, Jimmy Neutron, and Timmy Turner running around inside a robot dog. Nobody questioned this in 2005. Everybody just accepted it. Like, yeah, sure, it makes sense. Let's talk multiplayer because this became one of the biggest memories for players. Up to 4 players could join. Everybody picked a character, and immediately several things happened. Some picked Danny first, some ignored the objective, some ran into danger. Someone accidentally used attacks against everything in sight, and eventually everybody got lost. Classic couch co-op energy. Critics gave the game mixed reviews. The biggest praise was the crossover itself. People loved seeing these characters together. The worlds looked recognizable. The nostalgia factor hit hard. But there were complaints too. Combat sometimes became repetitive. The camera could fight players, and people wanted more interaction among the characters, because imagine the possibilities. Jimmy explaining quantum science to SpongeBob, Danny reacting to magical to fairy powers, Timmy asking Jimmy to build impossible gadgets. There was so much potential.
I don't believe it. You've defeated our defense system.
That's right. You've taught me a valuable lesson in teamwork, Professor. But the lesson ends here.
Oh, not quite, Jimmy Neutron. You may have defeated me, but the Doomsday Machine is still going to destroy Retroville, and you can't stop it.
Oh no! There are only 30 seconds left! What are we gonna do? Come on, brain! Think!
What if I go ghost with it? No, that won't work.
Guys, how about...
Maybe Cosmo and Wanda could send it into a black hole! I know! I can reconfigure the plasma flux and reverse the polarity! But there's no time!
What are we gonna do?
What happened?
It worked!
No!
Still, the game succeeded at something important. It created an entire series. Later games expanded the roster. Characters like Invader Sim, Jenny Wakeman, Tack, and others eventually joined. The Nicktoons crossover universe became bigger and bigger. And today, Nicktoons Unite sits in a strange place. Was it technically one of the greatest games ever made? Not really. Was it unforgettable if you grew up with Nickelodeon? Absolutely. because sometimes what people remember isn't perfect gameplay. They remember sitting on the floor in front of the TV, holding a controller, playing with their siblings or friends, and seeing cartoon worlds collide in a way they never have before. For a lot of kids, that felt huge. That's all for today's deep dive into Nicktoons Unite. Next time we open another vault and revisit another piece of gaming history. And if you enjoyed this trip back to one of the game's forgotten classics, make sure you subscribe and follow. Give The Lost Save a listen every Sunday. Until next time. And remember, don't forget to save your game.